Hello student, we have studied SN2 mechanism of alkaline hydrolysis of methyl bromide and SN1 mechanism of alkaline hydrolysis of tertiary butyl bromide, and why methyl bromide undergoes SN2 mechanism and tertiary butyl undergoes SN1 mechanism. Why these undergoes like that way, that we have to study today. Why methyl bromide do not undergo SN1 mechanism and why tertiary butyl bromide do not undergo SN2 mechanism. These points today we have to explain with the help of 3 points. The first point we have to study here, and that is a nature of a substrate. Nature of a substrate. What is a substrate in a SN2 mechanism and SN1 mechanism? The methyl bromide is a substrate in a SN2 mechanism and a tertiary butyl bromide is a substrate in a SN1 mechanism. So today we will try to understand first thing, that is a nature of a substrate in the case of a SN2 mechanism. Here, what is the characteristic of a SN2 mechanism? In case of a SN2 mechanism, when methyl bromide reacts with aqueous KOH, OH minus attacks on a central carbon atom, and simultaneously bromide as well as OH minus ions are held together by this carbon atom. And when here like this situation is formed, this situation or this structure is called as a transition state structure. And this transition state structure, the central carbon atom become a pentacoordinate one because it holds both the nucleophiles simultaneously. So this is the characteristic of a SN2 mechanism. This SN2 mechanism undergoes a formation of a transition state in which both the nucleophiles are held together. So here transition state of SN2 mechanism is a pentacoordinate and crowded. Here what type of a crowding is there? Here is a hydrogen and as well as this nucleophile. So crowding is there. Hence SN2 is formed in a primary halides only. It is favored in a primary halide and least favored in a tertiary halide. This is the characteristic. SN2 mechanism is favored in a primary alkyl halide and not favored in a tertiary alkyl halides. So let us see here SN2 mechanism. Here one point is shown that a rate of reaction of a SN2 mechanism increases from tertiary to secondary and secondary to primary alkyl halide. Now here, when alkaline hydrolysis of a methyl bromide undergoes or reacted with the aqueous KOH, what happens? OH minus attacks a carbon atom opposite to Br minus, that already we have studied. Here the Br is present at a right hand side to this carbon atom. So as this Br is a bulky group is present and already it having a negative charge, the OH also is a nucleophile. From same side, the OH cannot approach to the central carbon atom because of a bulky group is present. Okay, that is a Br group, bulky group is there, as well as electrical repulsion between OH and Br. So from same side, OH or that is a nucleophile, OH minus cannot approach to the central carbon due to presence of a bulky group as well as it having a negative charge. So this is the difficulty for this coming nucleophile to attach, to approach this carbon atom from a same side. As a result, OH is approached to the central carbon atom from opposite to this releasing group. Now, how the crowding increases when this hydrogen atom is substituted by a CH3 group. As we have studied in the 11th standard, the CH3 is a plus I affecting producing species. CH3 is a plus I effect producing species. That means, what is the characteristic of this CH3 group? This CH3 group releases, this CH3 group donates up its shared pair of electron or pushes its shared pair of electron towards this central carbon atom. Okay, so that characteristic we have studied while learning a stability of a tertiary carbocation, secondary carbocation, and primary carbocation. That point we have studied in 11th standard. So here, from these figures, we have to study only the crowding effect. How crowding go on increasing there. Here I have a methyl methyl intermediate compound is there, which having a methyl group, and halogen nucleophile is attached simultaneously. Those having a negative, half negative. Here half negative charge is present. Now in this structure, what is difference in these two structures? This hydrogen atom is substituted by a CH3 group. So here, how many bonds are increased around this carbon atom? 1, 2, and 3. 3 new bonds are increased. So crowding of these alpha carbon atom and alpha hydrogen atom bond between these 3, the crowding around this central carbon atom go on increasing. In case of this, again the second hydrogen atom, this second hydrogen atom also is substituted by a CH3. Again new 3 bonds are added here. Again more crowding is there compared to this one. Again the third hydrogen atom also substituted by a CH3. So let us try to understand how crowding go on increasing as the new bonds are formed around this central carbon atom. Here new 3 bonds are formed. Here in case of this, new 6 bonds are formed, and here new 9 bonds are there. So as the number of bonds go on increasing around this central carbon atom which is attached to the Br or halide, what it affects on an incoming OH group or incoming nucleophile. So incoming nucleophile will feel a crowding of these bonded pair of electrons. As a result, the approach of the coming nucleophile become a difficult one. So formation of a penta-coordinate transition state formation becomes a difficult one. And as a result, therefore, as we travel from this to these structures, what happens? Crowding and destabilization increases. That means the possibility of a formation of a penta-coordinate intermediate go on decreasing. That means the possibility or a rate of SN2 mechanism go on decreasing from left to right. Therefore, only primary alkyl halides forms a penta-coordinate transition state. Therefore, a primary alkyl halide undergoes or follows SN2 mechanism, and tertiary alkyl halide will not follow a SN2 mechanism. Okay. So therefore, now we will move towards a SN1 mechanism. Just now we have studied the crowding effect and a bulky group and electronic repulsion in a SN2. Now, what happens in case of a SN1 mechanism? As we have studied, the alkaline hydrolysis of a tertiary butyl bromide undergoes a SN1 mechanism. And what is the characteristic of a SN1 mechanism? The formation of a carbocation is the very important characteristic of a SN1 mechanism that we have studied. Let us see and now today in case of this SN1 mechanism, we are going to study here the why tertiary butyl carbocation take part in the SN1 mechanism that we have to study here. As we have studied, the rate of reaction is depend upon both of the substrate and reactant in case of a SN2 mechanism. In case of SN1, the rate of reaction is depend upon only carbocation. As we have studied, in case of a alkaline hydrolysis of a tertiary butyl bromide, there are 2 steps are there. In a first step, formation of a carbocation, and in a second step, approach of a nucleophile from both the sides to form 50% inversion of configuration and 50% retention of configuration takes place in there. that we have studied. Okay, so that the rate of reaction is depend upon only the concentration of a tertiary butyl bromide that we have studied. So why a tertiary alkyl halides favors SN1 mechanism and primary alkyl halide do not favor a SN mechanism, that we have to study now. Tertiary carbocation. In SN1, a planar carbocation is formed as an intermediate. Here, pentacoordinate transition state is formed. Here, a planar intermediate is formed, which having a 120 bond angle that we have studied. It has a no steric crowding. The steric crowding due to bulky group is not there because only carbocation is formed here. Here is the carbocation is there. There is no nucleophile. So in a slow step, whatever carbocation is formed, it doesn't having a nucleophile. So therefore, approaching nucleophile will not feel any type of a repulsion from a presence of a bulky group. And so therefore, no steric crowding. It is a most stable due to plus I effect of a alkyl group. Here, let us see here the only methyl carbocation, ethyl carbocation is there, a secondary propyl carbocation and tertiary butyl carbocations are there. So as a methyl group go on increasing, here one methyl group is there, so 1 plus I effect producing species is there. Here 2 methyl groups are there, 2 plus I effecting producing species are there. In case of these three here, the 3 plus I effect producing species are there. So therefore, a tertiary butyl carbocation is a more stable than secondary and then a primary one. So the rate of reaction of a SN1 mechanism is depend upon the stability of a carbocation. This is the very important step in case of a SN1 mechanism. And here a hyperconjugation effect of a alkyl group containing alpha hydrogen atom. That also we have studied in a 11th standard, that is a hyperconjugation. That is what thing happens in case of hyperconjugation. Here is a p orbital of this carbon atom is empty. And I have alpha carbon atom and this alpha hydrogen, I will say that this hydrogen atom is alpha hydrogen atom because this alpha hydrogen atom is attached to a alpha carbon atom. Okay, so that this bond will be shifted in a empty p orbital of this carbon atom, and shifting of this sigma bonded alpha sigma bonded hydrogen electron, sorry, this bonded electron in a p orbital is called as hyperconjugation. So how many hyperconjugative structures will be formed here? 3 hyperconjugative structures will be formed because there are 3 carbon and hydrogen bonds are there. So we can shift one by one the sigma bonded electron in a empty p orbital of this carbon atom. So this will have 3 hyperconjugative structures. Now here there are 3 bonds, here is 3 and here are 3. 6 sigma bonds are there. So there will be 6 hyperconjugative structures. In case of these, here are 3 plus 3, total 9 sigma bonded electrons are there. So that alpha carbon atom having 3 alpha carbon atom having a 3 carbon sigma bonds each. So there will be 9 hyperconjugative structures. And in the 11th standard, we have studied what we have studied, the stability of a carbocation and number of hyperconjugative structures that we have studied in 11th standard. So here the number of hyperconjugative structures is directly proportional to a stability of a carbocation. So here there are 9 hyperconjugative structures. So tertiary butyl carbocation is more stable than the secondary. This having a 6 and this having a only 3. So here hyperconjugation effect of a alkyl group containing a alpha hydrogen atom. So that is more in case of a tertiary butyl bromide. So tertiary butyl carbocation will form easily in a slow step. As a result, what will happen? Nucleophile will attack on this carbon atom very fast. So therefore, the tertiary carbocation SN1 mechanism rate go on increasing from primary to secondary and secondary to tertiary. So this is point we have studied just now. Next point we will try to understand, and that is the nucleophilicity of a nucleophile. A nucleophilicity of reagents. The nucleophile uses its electron to form a bond. In case of both of the mechanisms, the nucleophile uses its a pair of electron to form a bond with the carbon atom. So therefore, a nucleophile character, nucleophilic character plays very important role in both of the mechanism. A nucleophilic character is directly proportional to electron releasing tendency. So that you know that as a nucleophile uses its electron pair, it's a tendency of electron releasing vary with the different nucleophiles. So therefore, that is directly proportional to electron releasing tendency. Therefore, again, and as a result, again, the nucleophilic character is directly proportional to strength of a Lewis base. As we know that a Lewis acid and Lewis base is the one which provides its pair of electron to form a, which can use a pair of electron to donate to the other one. Okay, so therefore its Lewis base strength will be depend upon the electron releasing capacity of the nucleophile. Again, a powerful nucleophile attacks a substrate faster and favors a SN2 mechanism. Nucleophile, if the nucleophile is a very powerful, that means it having a more electron releasing tendency, will attack a substrate, that is a methyl bromide, faster, and it will favor a SN2 mechanism. So that is depend upon again that. Again, a negatively charged nucleophile is more powerful than its a conjugate acid. Here one reaction is shown. RO minus plus H plus is there, so that this RO minus is a Lewis base which provides its pair of electron to hold this electrophile to form a ROH, that is a alcohol. So this alcohol is a conjugate acid of a base RO minus. So this is a stronger nucleophile. So that is given here. Negatively charged nucleophile. Negatively charged nucleophile is more powerful than its a conjugate acid. When we compare this species and this species as a nucleophile, this will be more powerful than its conjugate acid. Next point we will try to understand, that is, in a period, nucleophilicity decreases from left to right. In a periodic table, if we travel from left to right, in a nucleophile, whatever atom is used to donate a pair of electron, so that when we travel from left to right, a nucleophilicity go on decreasing. That is shown here. Suppose here nitrogen present from a 15th group, oxygen is present in a 16th group. Okay, so that NH3 is a more powerful nucleophile than a H2O. So that this point is clear. When we travel from left to right in a period, so that nucleophilicity of that atom go on decreasing. Again, similarly, in a group from top to bottom, if we travel from top to bottom, what is the effect on the nucleophilicity? So the nucleophilicity go on increasing from top to bottom. As a result, Cl minus is a less nucleophilic character than Br minus. Br minus is a less nucleophilic character than a I minus. That means I minus can donate a pair of electron very easily. Therefore, I will say it is a powerful nucleophile. So here the nucleophilicity of the reagent is over. The next point which depend upon whichever is important for the to explain SN1 and SN2, and that is a solvent polarity. In case of a SN1, what happens? It follows a formation of a carbocation or intermediate carbocation is formed. So, and what happens? How that carbocation is formed? That breaking of that carbon and nucleophile bond there. So, good ionizing solvent, polar solvent stabilizes the ion by a solvation. In case of this, what happens? When a tertiary butyl bromide undergoes in a slow step, forms a tertiary butyl carbocation and Br minus will be given out there. So that Br minus will form a hydrogen bond with the water molecule or a polar protic solvent. So that Br minus will be solvated by forming a hydrogen bond with the water molecule. So it will help to form a easily carbocation formation. The point number 3, a protic solvent H2O solvation of a anion by H plus hydrogen bond is favored there. Then in case of next point is there, SN1 is a faster in a polar protic solvent than a protic solvent. What is the meaning of this? SN1 is a faster in a polar protic solvent because whatever anion is there in a substrate of a SN1, that is a tertiary butyl bromide, that anion is a Br minus, will be solvated by a polar protic solvent, that is a water one. So therefore the carbocation, stable carbocation will form there. In case of a SN2 reaction, rate depend upon a nucleophile also. In case of a SN2 reaction, the rate is depend upon nucleophile also. And what is the role of a solvent in case of a SN2 mechanism, that we have to study here. So a nucleophile is stabilized by a solvation of a polar protic solvent. So what is the meaning of this, or what is the effect of a solvent on a SN2 mechanism? If I carry out the SN2 mechanism in a polar protic solvent, what will happen there? The whatever nucleophile is there, whatever OH1 ions are there, will be solvated by a polar protic solvent, and as a result, a less OH1 ions will be there available for the reaction, isn't it? So the rate of reaction will be decreased there. Therefore, SN2 mechanisms are favored in a non-polar solvent, and SN1 mechanisms are favored in a polar protic solvent.